Awesome. Okay, so we are live. Finally, Sheena, we had a couple of challenges getting started this morning, but thank you for joining us. And we
Thank you
are
so much.
chatting with, so Sheena, let me make sure I get this right, okay? Sheena Sinclair Jonker.
That's right.
Woohoo!
Perfect.
Okay, good. Because I'm world famous for destroying names. So, literally. So, you are a Natal based para powerlifter. I think we met when
Yes.
you were competing at provincial champs now, which is
Yes.
absolutely awesome. And you're coming up to Poch for nationals.
I'm actually going to the Eastern Cape
Okay.
because there's a separate nationals for
Yes. Okay.
the physically disabled. Yeah. So it's actually the South African National Games for the physically disabled over that few days, and the
Right.
powerlifting takes place on the 1st of April.
Oh, epic. Okay, cool. So that's going to be
Yeah.
awesome. And looking forward
Yes.
to hearing your results on that. So, how did you find powerlifting?
I've done weightlifting most of my adult life, and about 2 years ago, I got back into it in a serious way. And my training partner and myself toyed with the idea of competing in bodybuilding.
Okay.
But there were a lot of challenges with that. The only category they had in para bodybuilding was for males.
Oh, wow.
So then my daughter's fiance is Brett Alcock of Heavy Metal Lifting. And he said, why don't you start competing in powerlifting?
Was he the one who was bringing
He,
you to platform?
no, that's my training partner.
Okay. All
That's
right.
my training.
You're looking very stressed and very relaxed after the lift.
It might have been Brett. I can't remember. In these competitions, you kind of like don't see
100.
anything.
Yeah. You see nothing
Yeah.
except the bar. Absolutely.
Yeah. Get tunnel vision.
Yep.
Yes.
So sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Yeah, so then we started competing at a club level at KZN powerlifting, and went to partook in the provincial competition in January this year. So it's been it's just been about a year exactly since I've started competing in powerlifting. Yeah.
And how's that been for you? Tell us a little bit about that. Has it been enjoyable? Has it been fun? Has it been what you expected? Has it been more than you expected? Oh, hello. I think we may have lost Shireen there. Something seems to be happening, ladies and gentlemen, with the networks in Natal. And please do bear with us. We're going to be able to get her back. We had this issue yesterday with Amanda. There we go. Are you back, Shireen? Okay, no problem.
Yeah, so it's been amazing. So part of the challenge with being a para athlete is that you're not always well accommodated. But KZN powerlifting has been really, really good about that.
Right.
I would like to. I'm only allowed to compete in bench.
So, Sheer, we're losing your audio a little bit. Have you moved anything with your phone and your mic? There seems to be something quite close to your microphone.
Is that better?
No, the audio is still a little bit raspy.
Do you think I should reconnect?
Yes, I think if you can hop out and just reconnect, and we'll carry on. All right, there we go. So Sheena's just going to reconnect, be back with us in a few moments. So please do bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, and we will have our fantastic guest back with us shortly, chatting about para powerlifting. And para powerlifting is the only powerlifting event currently in the Olympics, and that is para bench press. So let's get Sheena back on here, and we'll chat a little bit about. Right, you're back. Welcome back. Give you a round of applause. Right. So you were saying, we were talking just about the bench press and then the other disciplines.
Yeah, para athlete, I'm only allowed to compete in bench press. At the Paralympics, they do allow an adapted deadlift, which I would love to see included here at a national level. So it's a seated deadlift. I'm very new to this, but I've just come across, how challenging it is for disabled athletes, and trying to kind of fight for inclusion in these things, because if you are able to do an adapted deadlift, like a seated deadlift as they do at the Paralympics, I'd love to see that happen. So I think I'd like to get involved in working to develop the sport for disabled athletes. I think the three moves are also powerful ways of maintaining as much mobility as you can. And then it's been a wonderful way of being able to develop my strength within the limitations that I have. So from a physical point of view and a psychological point of view, it's really an amazing thing, and it's an incredible thing to be able to compete at this level, and to have the support that I've had from KZN Powerlifting and my coach and my training partner has been really, really uplifting. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Can we? And I want to chat to you a little bit about the para powerlifting. But first, I want to chat about Natal. And how's your support been? Everybody that I speak to from Natal sings Amelia's praises. They love her as a coach, as an organizer, as a chairperson. So how have you found Natal and that environment?
Yeah, Amelia is incredible, and the whole environment is very supportive, very inclusive. She's really gone out of her way to accommodate me, and to pave the way for me being able to develop myself in the sport. And so I really appreciate that, because I don't think it's easy. The pathway is not just set for her. She's actually had to pull out some stops for me, which has been really appreciated. And I'd like to be able to give that access to others as well, because I think it's an amazing sport. From a longevity point of view, and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
We absolutely, from a longevity point of view, we have a lifter in Gauteng, Dan Oppenheimer, and he's 192 years old. And
amazing.
Okay, close to 100, but it's still amazing to see him lifting in his 80s. He's just turned 80. He's just, and it's the most wonderful thing to see. And I remember when we had SA Bench at Sun City a few years ago, there was a Japanese lifter. She was 84 years old, and she benched the record of 84 kilos. I mean, that's a seriously impressive weight. And it's the most wonderful thing to see, for sure. And the thing I love about powerlifting, it doesn't matter what age you are, there are always records to break, always competitors to compete against, and always new relationships and connections to build, which is really, really cool. So how did you find the Natal scene, the powerlifting? How was the comp? What was the atmosphere like? What was it like in the warm-up area? Were you having fun?
A very, very exhilarating atmosphere at all these competitions. The provincial one was very quiet, which was nice for me, because I'm 52, so the loud music of the club comps can be a bit overwhelming, but it's also good to be able to tune in and get your head right no matter what's going on around you, which I think is a very good life skill.
Yes.
But the provincial comp was different in that it was very quiet. There was no loud music and that kind of thing. But it was very, very hot that day, extremely hot, which was a challenge in its own. But yeah, again, like I don't really remember too much about my lifts because you're very dialed into the lift and you don't remember too much of what's happening around you, or you're not aware of too much that's happening around you. But everyone is it's a wonderful atmosphere. It's a very uplifting, inclusive, non-judgmental atmosphere, which is really amazing. Don't think you're going to find that in bodybuilding.
It's so you're the second person to say that, because we spoke to Amanda yesterday. We were chatting to her again on Friday. We had a bit of a connection issue. She's coming from a bodybuilding background and saying how that compares to powerlifting. We've had a little bit of experience. We've had some of our coaches that have come through our development academy that have competed in bodybuilding. The atmosphere is very, very different. Bodybuilding, what I've experienced, which is small, very isolate. Everybody's their own isolated pocket. Where with powerlifting, everybody's jumping in on one another. Looks like Amanda has moved her phone, and we just lost her there. So let us have your questions or comments for Amanda. You can drop them in, and we'll share them with her, and we will ask her the questions. So as we were saying a little bit earlier before Amanda came back, and Sheena came back talking about the Paralympics, and that's something we're going to get to now. Welcome back. So, by the way, one thing, we were just chatting while you were off air about the Paralympics, and I want to get into that now. But you can thank us, and you can thank Emmet Media for the music situations, because we worked very, very hard over, well, us and SA Powerlifting, because they gave me their full backing. We worked very hard to bring the streaming to the competitions, and we sponsored the streaming. And one of the things with the streaming is when you're going to YouTube, when you're going to Facebook, you cannot have commercial music. And that finally, people love the streaming now more than they love the music. It's been a fight, and when certain gyms are hosting, it's a challenge. And there are certain groups, the Furmans, I'm talking to you guys, when they're at provincials, they're blasting their music. But and one of the reasons that we wanted to do this is to give the athletes the experience of what it's like to be at an international level competition as much as possible. So no loud music at provincials, no loud music at nationals, and because there's no loud music at the international. So you want to be able to dial your head in and not be focused on the music for your motivation when you get the international level, and there's nothing there at national, international level. So we're really grateful for the accommodation that the provinces have given us with that. So going on to Paralympics, and obviously para bench press has been around for a while. We now have the deadlift. What would you like to see happening within South Africa in terms of the availability? Let's talk about it from a gym level, and then a provincial level, and then a national level.
Well, I think that first of all, I'm the only para athlete from KZN going to nationals. So there's a team of 48 athletes going, and the only athlete competing in powerlifting on that day from KZN is me.
Right.
So it obviously indicates that not much has been done to develop the sport for para athletes, particularly here in KZN. I don't know how many are going from around the country, but I do think it's a sport that could be available to many more para athletes. And could again help to build strength within limitations, which has a whole life benefit.
Absolutely.
So I do think that I'd like to personally get involved in developing it. Wherever I can. So I suppose starting at gym level, going to provincial level, and then national level. One thing I will say is that it doesn't seem to me that KZN Disability Athletics has a whole lot of support. They battled to get their allocation of funding for the 5th year in a row. So typically a disabled athlete is going to statistically be more impoverished than your average athlete. So why there's this lack of support is really concerning. But again, it's just something that I've encountered very recently. And part of my work is human rights law, so I would always like to try to see, how I can advance things and make things accessible for people in the same physical situation as me, but possibly in a much worse economic situation where they just simply couldn't even consider partaking in a sport like this.
Absolutely.
Just traveling to the Eastern Cape is going to be a big obstacle for a lot of people.
Rather, even getting to the gym or getting to a provincial competition, if you're having to come from another side of the province, it can be a huge limitation. Is that sort of the challenge from government side, from local government, where there's a funding issue?
As far as I can tell, and I stand to be corrected, but KZN Disability Athletics is meant to be allocated a certain amount every year. And for the 5th year in a row, that has not been allocated to them. So there was an athletes meeting to reconstitute the body and to breathe more oxygen into it, but I was unfortunately not able to make it on that day. But I'd like to see how I could maybe help, just whether it's raising awareness for that, and thank you for this kind of platform, because this is one of the ways of raising awareness for it. But I do think we should have a lot more power athletes, powerlifting athletes. And then another thing that I feel quite strongly about is obviously introducing the para adaptation for deadlift. Amelia did accommodate me at a club competition at the Bluff with the para adaptation, in other words, the seated deadlift, which I felt really good about, and that was an exciting moment for me.
We have to ask, what did you lift? You can't talk to a power lifter about 100. That's brilliant.
I only started deadlifting a very short time before that. So I'm up to 120 now.
Awesome.
And so
that's very cool.
That's quite exciting.
So I tend to get excited when we mention lift. So it's a powerlifting thing. If there's anything that we can do to facilitate awareness sort of through our audience and through our platform, I think over Commonwealth and World Masters last year, we had about 200,000 views over the competition period. So there is great exposure that we can bring, and we really want to help with this, because the reason we set these conversations up was to enable powerlifters to share their stories and their journeys and what the sport means to them, and then hopefully bring in more people into the sport, and then they can enjoy its incredible benefits. The physical, the psychological, the community, the spirit, the vibe, and everything that goes with it. And I think, as you were saying, from a para competitor position, if you have And this is what, for me, another thing I love about powerlifting. If you know you're competing, it's a little bit of extra drive and motivation to get to the gym, to stick to your nutrition plan, to make your weight goals, and it gives you something to work towards. And when you're talking about athletes that are coming from very financially challenged backgrounds and situations, that little bit of hope can really make the difference in one's life. It can get you through those very dark periods and then out to the other side of that, where there may be other opportunities that, if you didn't stick it out, you wouldn't have been able to make it through to.
Absolutely.
So,
Speaking of nutrition, can we have a quick conversation about nutrition?
With pleasure.
I would just like to mention, not only do I do human rights, but I also do animal rights as part of my work. So I have been a strict vegan for the last 7 years. And veganism and powerlifting are not normally the things that go together. But I feel it's my duty, just as having made a commitment to not participate in what happens to animals. That I've been able to follow a strict vegan diet for 7 years and become the strongest that I've ever been. So,
fantastic. And it we need. Are you finding sort of that there is support from the supplement community? I know, it's been hard fought over the years for vegan food to be available, and now it's relatively readily available. There's some great vegan restaurants. I think Nikki's is a chain in Johannesburg that's fantastic that you can go to, and I love it because it allows me to try all different things. I had a friend of mine who was or is a raw vegan chef, and when I first moved to Johannesburg, she stayed with me for about 6 months. No, hold on. A raw vegan chef and a Lindt chocolate chef. So her Avo chocolate mousse was off the hook, and everything was dehydrated and rehydrated. So the intense flavors. I mean, we did a green juice cleanse. I think I dropped 14 kilos in 18 days. And just the food was phenomenal, from the nut butters and the cheese. Very, very cool. But in terms of supplementation, are the supplement companies that, in your experience, taking this seriously? You have your pea protein, you maybe have your, sort of your lentils or hemp protein. Is there enough available?
Yeah, I find it very easily available. My coach, Brett from Heavy Metal Lifting, is himself a vegan, and he holds some of the KZN records. So he's also made it one of his priorities to develop supplementation. So they offer a creatine. They don't offer a protein powder yet, but the plant-based protein powders are quite accessible. And then, as long as you are getting enough of your plant-based proteins and that kind of thing, you can be as strong as an ox. Literally. Follow
absolutely.
the diet of an ox.
Follow the diet of an ox. Yeah, just stick to one stomach though. So it doesn't mean you have to eat 4 times the amount if you're going to be eating like an ox. So, fantastic. So let's chat about the upcoming nationals. What are you looking to do? What are you hoping to do? Can you share any numbers with us?
Well, my last achievement was a 42.5 on bench. Just bear in mind that as a powerlifter, you have your legs up. So a significant part of bench press is the leg drive.
Yep, a huge amount of bench press.
I don't think where I should be and could be. So I will be going for a 50 at nationals. But my coach thinks I could be at 70 or 80. by now, but I haven't really had my game face on too much this year. So I'm gonna be working a lot harder over the next year.
Oh, fantastic! So there might be some surprises, and if not now, then next year. Would you consider nationals next year for the SAPF as well, in addition to the national games?
Yeah, if I'm able to achieve those numbers, I am competing in Masters too, so it might be a possibility. But and also if they'll have me, if they'll accommodate a para athlete within that, yes. But absolutely, I'd love to do that.
The one thing I know with SAPF and sort of with Harney Smith and Heather Layton and all of the guys that are involved in the EC, they're absolutely supportive of para. So it's just really about chatting to them, and they're more than accommodating. I think even, I speak under correction or maybe under risk of beating, they may as well accommodate a deadlift, either as an exhibition, not part of the competition, but just as a way of getting it out there. But certainly certainly on the bench. So, and I think that's really the best way to do it, just to get it out there, get it seen, and get it on the live stream, and then get people talking about it. Because I think the deadlift can be such a draw card as well for para powerlifters. Well, yeah, okay, bench is nice, but we're wanting to deadlift. So that's definitely something. I'll have a chat to Harney and to Heather on Saturday. I hope I'm not getting myself into trouble here, but let's see what we can do. If you can't be controversial and cause a bit of chaos, what's the point? It looks like we may have lost Sheena again. I think we'll just give her a few minutes to come back on. If you do have any questions for Sheena, our para powerlifter, please let us have them in the comment section. All right. We got Sheena back. Dewey, hello. Nope. Half back. Are we back? Nothing yet. It looks like there may be. It seems to be a big technology issue down in Natal, and or it's just our network in South Africa that's limiting us. It's quite crazy with the international athletes that we've been speaking to. This hasn't been an issue. So just let me give you a heads up as to what's coming up for the rest of this week. We've got a pretty packed week. This evening at 6:30 p.m., that's the South Africa time, GMT +2, we're chatting to Amelia, and she is the chairperson of Natal Powerlifting. We were down there in January to live stream the provincial champs for the first time, and we were very proud to sponsor and cover the costs of that live stream, and something that we're wanting to do for South African powerlifting. So we'll be chatting to her at 6:30 today. Please do join us for that. That's going out live. And all right, let's see. We got Sheena back. And let's see if we can get her on. There we go. Welcome back. It's so funny. I was just laughing because the same thing was happening yesterday with Amanda. So maybe when the highway washed away, it took out some of our cables as well. So I think just sort of, there's so much to chat about, and we'd love to have you back on after the championships to talk about your experience and how it was. And I think if we can also focus on, what is access at the venue like? What are the facilities at venues like in order to accommodate to lifters and paralifters, just to make sure that, for example, sometimes it's on a stage. Is that being taken into account? Because you want, as a coach and as a lifter for yourself and as a coach for your athlete, minimum stress for the athlete. The focus has to be on that platform, And I know we had some challenges with that gate at provincials that was sort of into the gym area that we were trying to keep open and hold with the bench, and that was for everybody. And the spotting and loading team were absolutely epic. I'm not just saying that because I was on it. But the guys really, they worked really hard to make sure that the flow was great. And So I think if we
I
can
must say,
chat,
from an accessibility point of view, Prime Gym has been it's perfect in
phenomenal.
almost every way. I know there is that gate that people have to hold open for me and that kind of thing, but from a, you know, everything's level, everything's all on one level, the stage is on one level, so you just walk straight on. I did compete at a competition last year where accessibility was very difficult. And the warm up area was upstairs. So that was difficult, and that kind of thing does add extra stress and extra burden. So Prime Gym at Moses Mabhida, from my point of view, is perfect from a para athletic point of view.
It's a
It's also
fantastic gym as well, and very good coffee.
very good coffee.
Very good coffee, yeah.
I did have to bring my own soya milk though.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
that's one strike.
Okay, now I'm going to have a word with them. All right, you know what? We're chatting to Amelia tonight at 6:30. I'm going to mention that to her. So.
Thank you so much.
No, only with pleasure. Hopefully next time I get to see you, although it might be in storage, I've got a Huron juicer, and I use it to make my own almond milk. But I'm a bit sneaky. We do almond cream, so where it's a lot less water. So basically the consistency is really thick, and it's very, very creamy. You can have that on its own. And I love the NPL, the vegan whey protein. Because, well, it's not whey, the vegan protein powder. It's primarily pea protein. Because I find it doesn't upset my gut, and my tummy's very happy with it. It's a wonderful indicator of what you're eating, the amount of bloating that happens afterwards. So, absolutely.
The pea protein shake I'm taking at the moment is very easy on my stomach, I must say, and it mixes very easily. It's
much easier than milk-based than whey. Absolutely, whey does tend to be a bit sticky. So I think I'm a huge fan of that product. It makes it very easy, and you don't feel bad having extra. Which is always a thing. Oh, awesome. So, I mean, is there anything sort of that you would like to share? So I've called you Amanda, I've called you Amelia. Wow. So you see, sorry, Sheena, is there anything extra that you would like to share with the listeners or the viewers just before we wrap up?
No, I think we've covered most of what I expected we would cover. So thank you very much.
No, only a
Thank
pleasure.
you for the
No, thank you. Thank you for coming to share your story.
Thank you so much, and keep me in your thoughts for the 1st of April.
100%. Yeah.
I'm back with some good news.
Well, if you're up for it, we could do a quick call before or after, as long as it doesn't interfere with the lifting. You tell me. We'd absolutely love to do that. All right, brilliant.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
I'm up for that. Thank you so much.
If you were to chat just before we wrap up to a para powerlifter or parents or a paralifter, a potential para athlete or parents of a potential para athlete or family or friends, what would you say to them why they should get involved in this sport?
I think, as I said earlier, it has whole life benefits. It has benefit. The three main powerlifting moves are or lifts are, you know, they're so foundational to strength and mobility. Obviously, they can also restrict mobility if you're not balancing it with enough stretching and that kind of thing. But from a physical strength point of view, from a mobility point of view, and from a psychological strength point of view, I think that powerlifting has whole life benefits. From the ability to go and partake in a new community and meet new people and have new experiences, and just develop your strength to the maximum within the limitations that you have, I think is an incredible thing to do. And could have benefits way beyond what could be expected for disabled young people and older people. So I would definitely recommend it. So if anyone wants me to come and speak to any parents or children or anything like that, I'm always up for that.
And if they do, they can message us directly in the DM or privately, and we'll share the details with you. So fantastic.
Definitely.
Absolutely love that. So I mean, we're all under so much pressure in our day-to-day lives. Any outlet, any opportunity for developing strength in our whole life, as you said, is the most wonderful thing. And it's something that we should really consider doing. Oh,
Definitely.
Sheena, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
We
you so
really
much.
appreciate it. Absolutely wonderful
It's
chatting
been
to
a
you.
pleasure.
Yeah. We're going to chat to you sort of on April the 1st, just before the comp, and we'll post that as well. I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll do a FaceTime call, and we'll do a screen record, so it'll be easy and simple to do. Thank you for joining us.
I'll have my technology sorted out in a better way.
Awesome.
I usually use Zoom seamlessly. That's
Yes.
my whole work is on Zoom. But this has had a few challenges being new to
But I think, you know, to do
platform.
yeah, there is a workaround for us where we can integrate Zoom, do the call on Zoom, and then broadcast it through here. So that just requires me to do a little bit of reading up and practice. So I'll do that. All right, Sheena. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
All the best for the training. We'll chat to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That was Sheena Sinclair Jonkers, our Natal-based para powerlifter, talking about her upcoming nationals, national games. And excuse me if I'm not getting that terminology correct. And we look forward to chatting to her on the 1st of April about the competition. So as I said, we're chatting to Amelia today at 6:30. That's the Natal chairperson. And then tomorrow, 10 a.m., we've got Neil Goosen, also from Natal. 11 a.m., we have Amanda again, just to follow up, a Natal-based powerlifter, Cobus, and that was a bit of a bad connection yesterday. Then at 12 o'clock, we have Dean, and at 1 o'clock, we have Olivia Perotti, a Gauteng-based powerlifter and champion. So we got a full day tomorrow. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 powerlifting interviews. Please join us. Let us have your comments. We're doing this for you. We're doing this for our sport, and because we love it. And we want to share the stories of roads to the athletes and coaches' roads to nationals. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you this evening at 6:30 p.m. when we speak to Natal chairperson Amelia. Thank you. Oos.